It's not just feeling that my mind tells me that, oh, I'm being followed. No, really, I am. They know how to track you. They're everywhere. They could be in the street, they could be in a shop, they could be your friend without you knowing. I mean, that's why it's very hard for the interpreters to trust someone.
Wahdat worked as an interpreter for the U.S. military for 3 years. Now he says the Taliban is trying to kill him.
Taliban first warning letter to me.
Can you translate that?
Yeah. We know you have been working with the U.S. Special Forces, and you must stop working and helping these infidels. If you reject and do not obey our directions and rules, your death will be eligible to us according to Islamic Sharia, and we will never let you live in peace in any part of Afghanistan. Can I have a smoke?
Yeah, it's your room.
Taliban thought that the interpreters are ears and eyes for the military. They just knew you did this, you'll have to be killed. They don't kill you the easy way if you worked as interpreter. They will try every maniac punishment first to hurt you. Normally I do sleep during the day since I'm jobless, and then I would stay awake during the night. If I hear something strange, I'll just go up and down and to check what's going on, having my gun on. I'm under pressure, honestly.
Wahdat's escape depends on a special visa for Afghans who work for the U.S. government. His application by law should take 9 months, but Wahdat's been waiting for 2.5 years with no choice but to hide. Earlier this year, fault lines went to Afghanistan to find out why so many interpreters have been left behind. In this film, we follow up on their stories. We were invited to the family home of another interpreter named SAKHIDAD Afghan. He's one of thousands of interpreters who have tried to escape death threats by applying for a special visa to live in the U.S. What did you think when Afghan told you he wanted to start working with the military?
بسیار علاقه داشت دم انگلیسی دم خدمت و هرچی که چی بود دم خدمت بسیار علاقه داشت ما خوش بودیم که بچه ما یک چیزی شوه دیگه.
After several years of working with the Americans, SAKHIDAD and his friend ABDULLAH began receiving threats. They decided to apply for visas.
SAKHIDAD and I, we were working from 2009 up to 2012 together. We were very close friends. We were like brothers. He never called me Abdullah. He was calling me Brother Abdullah all the time.
While they waited, Congress passed a law requiring the State Department to process special visa applications within 9 months.
This is the statement of threat. This is his medical examination report for his visa interview, before visa interview.
But for SAKHIDAD, the 14-step process would take far longer.
This is his chief of mission approval.
He has to be approved based on these 4 things: that he served the U.S. government faithfully and that he is actually under a threat. He gets approved for all of it in 2012. So he met all the requirements
For a visa.
for a visa.
He was waiting to just a visa on his passport. It was approved. Everything was approved for him.
After 2 years, SAKHIDAD had one more hurdle to cross: a background check known as administrative processing. When the Americans pulled out of the base where he worked, SAKHIDAD had to find a new job. Living off base put him at greater risk, which he described in a letter to the U.S. government.
His last paragraph here is, finally, to make a long tragedy short, I really do not feel secure, not only physically, but also mentally, in any part of my homeland and my country. And I'm optimistic that the USA government put a step forward and helps me in this process. SAKHIDAD Afghan. Kind regards.
In March 2015, SAKHIDAD was kidnapped, tortured, and killed by the Taliban.
The shot him from here. It comes out from there. And he received another bullet in here in the chest. He received 3 bullets.
An Afghan National Army commander recovered his body from the side of the road.
باز دویم دیگه ما گفتم که حساب امیلمن جنگ و زدن ایلاکو گفت تا ما جان خود دمی افغانستان یا برای امی دوستا که مزدیست نتون
والا امیر خو ما خواهش ما ایسه که بدر امی جوانا رو نجات بده حتی فامیلایش در خطر است ولی ما سعی کنه دو تا بدر خود رایی کردم از ترس نمزی حساب فامیلی خودشان که در خطر است جمع بسته فامیلشان.
This is Taliban letter they sent to them.
Can you translate this for me exactly?
Yeah. This is like a warning for ABDULLAH, his another brothers, that they are drivers and they are taking the US military fuels from one station to another station. We killed SAKHIDAD Afghan, so we will kill you, his other 3 brothers also, because he is a truck driver.
Is it named him?
Yeah, named him also.
Your name's in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah. ABDULLAH, his name is ABDULLAH. Yeah, his name is also in this letter.
Are you scared?
مگه خود زندگی تام در خطر است دیگه تشویش می‌داری. Yeah.
Months before SAKHIDAD'S death, Abdullah's visa application was denied.
I'm sure they have my picture too and they are chasing me too. There are lots of translators that they are waiting for their visas and they are losing their lives.
Soon after our visit, Abdullah fled the country and reapplied for a visa to the U.S. State Department officials declined to comment on SAKHIDAD'S case and said they don't keep track of how many interpreters have been killed while waiting for their visa. SAKHIDAD'S father buried his son's body here in Kabul over a year ago.
This is how I've got.
This one.
What the half got is black.
او یک محبت خاص داشت. خب این وقت که بود ما گفتم او بچه همه چی فامیلی ما که محمدی است تو افغان ماندی ما افغان هستم در افغانستان خدمت میکنم.
He never left Afghanistan, did he?
میگه دیگه افغانستان هم رها نکرده. در افغانستان ماند دیگه.
آه در افغانستان.
He remained in the Pakistan.
If SAKHIDAD had made it to the States, he would have arrived here in Philadelphia, where his friend Laura McKendrick had prepared a room for his arrival. The Air Force captain became his visa sponsor after returning from Afghanistan.
We did a lot of long runs together. There he is. That's him.
Number 2, yeah.
He was right at the front. Here's us after our race.
This was after the marathon?
After the marathon, yeah. I just still can't believe it. I signed everything. I put the thing for the lease that he was going to be living with me. I had a job lined up for him, everything. I had clothes, you name it. So far, no one has contacted me.
They stayed in touch while he waited for his visa. Meanwhile, SAKHIDAD'S sent emails like this one to the U.S. government.
I am concerned for my safety if I am left behind when the U.S. military withdraws. I have risked my life to support the U.S. military in achieving its mission. I ask that I receive strong consideration for an approved visa. I told him, you gotta hang in there. It's just a little bit longer, but you can only say that to somebody so much. I feel horrible about what happened, and I know that I can't change what happened, but again, it's like, I was helping him come here, and I completely feel like I failed. I was hearing that from October. He's gonna be here within 2 weeks to a month. And then it's March, and he's gone.
SAKHIDAD'S death didn't seem to change things at the U.S. State Department. Thousands of interpreters still waited for their visas, and many of them remained in hiding.
We've just flown in from Afghanistan. We've been interviewing the interpreters that work for the U.S. military. They are hiding while the Taliban is actively hunting and killing them. The Congress has directed for State Department to consider their S visas within a 9-month period, but the processing, the administrative processing of these visas is taking far, far longer than 9 months for everyone that we've interviewed. In fact, we were with someone named SAKHIDAD Afghan. We were with his family because he was murdered by the Taliban while waiting for his visa to be administratively processed. When someone like that is killed, does the U.S. take some sort of responsibility when they're beyond that 9-month period for leaving these guys where the threat is?
We're grateful for the assistance and service that these interpreters have given. We're mindful of the concerns that some of them have about getting these visas, and we're mindful of our obligations to them in kind.
What do you say to the families for the guys who are getting murdered now while waiting over 3 years?
Look, obviously, I can't speak to each case, and I, again, we're mindful of the danger they have taken on and the danger that they face now.
They feel like they've been left behind, though.
I understand that, and I can assure you that that's not the case.
Another one was killed yesterday in Kandahar. No one seems to be considering this an imminent enough threat to get the translators out of the country.
We obviously have a commitment, and we know we do. But here at the State Department, our commitment is to try to make sure that we're working with members of Congress to make sure that this processing of these visas is done as fairly and as evenly as possible.
Back in Afghanistan, Wahdat began his 3rd year in hiding.
So this is how I first started. They gave me a helmet, boots, and AK-47 without any training. It was around 17 something. It's horrible, honestly. It's like someone is dying and you tell them, I don't know, but I may help you. But I don't trust you enough now to help you. I'll have to trust you first, and then I can help you. The only difference between me and SAKHIDAD, or people like me and SAKHIDAD, is our chances that we still survived by chances. I mean, we can take precautions, we can take security measures, but for how long?
Weeks after our return from Afghanistan, we got a call from Wahdat. His visa still hadn't come through. He told us he was looking for a new place to hide.
Last night there was shooting. My neighbor, he said there was someone wearing black clothes trying to climb up on the wall. So it made me very worried. I never slept. These like 2 days, it's been horrible. It's just like I'm wondering, so what's next?
While Wahdat hid in Afghanistan, we wanted to find out what life in the U.S. would be like if he did get his visa.
And these guys are in Afghanistan, and they're thinking, I need to get to the States for safety. But what are they imagining that their lives are going to be like in the States?
They arrive with an expectation of, I'm going to have somewhere to sleep when I get here, a means of getting food until I figure out how to acquire it myself, and some general instruction on how in the heck I incorporate myself into this society around me, and if not thrive, at least survive.
Matt Zeller is a U.S. Army veteran based in Northern Virginia. After returning from Afghanistan, Zeller founded an organization called No One Left Behind to help Afghan and Iraqi interpreters settle in the States. He says many of them are abandoned at the airport.
There's nobody there to pick them up. There's no housing. There's no food. There's no job program. You get to America, and after the customs guy stamps your immigration papers and lets you through, that you're on your own. Good luck. You get 8 months of food stamps and Medicare if you know that you're even entitled to apply for it, which again, no one's there at the airport to tell you that. That's it.
Zeller's organization has tried to fill the gaps left by underfunded refugee agencies, helping hundreds of interpreters, including Ahmed. He arrived in Maryland after 6 years as a combat interpreter, a job that left him severely injured.
It was an ambush.
And what actually hit your hand, though? What happened to it?
The AK-47 bullet.
Oh, where did it go through?
It hit right here, this side, where the two bones are. So it pretty much shattered all the bones and then came out from this way.
Former translators are not just refugees. One, they're refugees of our own creation, right? But two, they're veterans. They're coming with all of the needs of a veteran would. But they don't have any access to the VA. You know, that's the other thing I can't stand. He's not a veteran. Legally speaking, he's just an immigrant. A refugee from Afghanistan who had an interesting life experience, but of the 56,000 organizations that exist in the United States of America to help folks like me come home and heal from war and reintegrate, not a single one will recognize his service.
Before it was really worse. It's now like the reformed one. They made it look good.
Because of his injury, Ahmed had trouble keeping a job. He was packing frozen foods at the time and soon fell behind on his rent.
This is the sheriff notice of eviction that they sent me when I was did all the surgeries and couldn't afford to pay my bills. This is one, and this is the other one. They sent me to the court, and they said you have to pay, this is something $1,900 on this, and they said you have to pay $1,500 of this in 1 week. That time my hand was just hanging like this in the court.
Ahmed hopes his new job as a part-time security guard will cover monthly expenses. He says if he could save enough to return to Afghanistan, he would.
Make you frustrated, disappointed, makes you that you're worth nothing. So, we were living in Kabul in a war zone. We were better than this. Now here, you fight all month just for your rent. Once you pay your rent, you have nothing. And then it all starts again next month.
Weeks after our film aired, officials from the U.S. government contacted us. They wanted more information about Wahdat's case. A month later, his visa was approved. He was coming to live in the United States.
That's him. That's him.
For the first time, Wahdat was comfortable showing his face on camera.
I still remember it was 12th May 2016, 2:32. I was on the top of the roof and I checked it. I just yelled and I started running to my mom and jumping up and down and said, "Here's my visa, it's like approved and it's issued." My mom was like almost crying. It was like the happiest day of my life.
Organizers from No One Left Behind were there to greet him.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Are you tired?
Well, yeah, I think my eyes are red. I just checked myself, like I just did a double check if I'm not sleeping. I think I'm lucky. Normally, guys are not that lucky.
You're gonna ride with me in that car?
Sure.
Wahdat boarded a shuttle and was on the way to his new home.
I was just thinking about back home. I don't know how they're doing. I never called them. It's been like 2 days now. I think I'm worried. Or being too much worried. All of us SIV holders, the first thing was like for us to be safe. But the second thing was that like we wanted to have a future, to have like a career, to have a good background and to build something.
Wahdat was placed in this Maryland apartment complex.
Assalamu alaikum. Salamash. Inshallah. Khairat. Khairi. Good khairat. Khairi, inshallah.
If you want to come this way.
A caseworker gave him a quick tour and said goodbye.
That's basically it. You do have people that have been living here. Your caseworker will be here in the morning, okay, to meet with you.
Okay,
all right?
thanks.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Welcome. All right, thank you
you
guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Wahdat's first night in America would be in this one-bedroom apartment shared with 3 other people.
Any interpreters who's coming newly to the US, they hold big dreams and moving on and thinks that, okay, this is end of my trouble. I'll have a better life. But when they come here, I think it's the start of another big trouble. There will be big challenges. See what happens.